The Stephie Smalls Show on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Edge Boost, the bank account built for better. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN and get a $25 matching deposit bonus.
Are you ready?
Welcome back to the Stephie Smalls Show. I think we're up to episode 23, airing on a Tuesday, doing a little bit of a flu game here. We'll also be live tomorrow. But first, we have today's show, have Spencer Aguiar coming on to talk about Charles Schwab. Spence just got a little jump in before Ryan's still figuring out Restream. So here we are. You got to see Spencer. And then producer Ryan's going to come on for some NBA conference finals. So you can bring Spence on at TF Sports on X. Two-time FSWA Golf Writer of the Year. I mean, what don't you do? PGA analyst, a rotoballer, host of the Better Golf Pod. We used to be co-hosts for the people that don't know. If they did not know, we used to be co-hosts.
We did. And, you know, if I know anything about us, Stephie, we probably, before this show is done, we'll end up talking about football. There's a lot going on in the dynasty streets. The NFL draft still just happened. So I'm sure we'll dabble into that before we officially get out of here with the golf picks.
Yes, we will have to. PGA Championship has, come and gone. Scottie won. I don't know how much of a shock that should be to everyone. What's like your biggest takeaways, I guess, from the PGA Championship?
I said this before the tournament, and I think it got emphasized during the event. One of the things that we used to talk about, Stephie, is there is a groupthink mentality that ends up occurring, whether it's with golf or any sport, anything with betting, to where the consensus starts rolling one way. And it's not to say, like, one of my arguments that I made is Rory, Bryson, Scottie, they were the three deserving favorites. You could kind of put them in whatever order you thought. It's not a surprise that the leaderboard ended up being Scottie first, Bryson second. But more of where I'm coming from on this is it feels like that when Rory started hot during the year, everybody started pushing in this direction that Rory is the best player in the world. And you got to work on larger sample sizes in that. I don't think we ever push that far. Rory's ceiling can match Scottie on any given day. I think that the big difference, though, when you're looking at any of these players comes down to what their floors are. You don't have to look any further than this week, Stephie. Like Scottie Scheffler at books to come top 20 is minus 800 at a couple books. His over-under of his finishing position this week is 3. You don't see that from anybody else. So Scottie's the best player in the world. It was proven last week. And now we're going to start pushing forward with the real discussions of, can he win at the U.S. Open? Can he win the Open Championship? This career Grand Slam talk with him can really start beginning very shortly if he wins the U.S. Open. So it's going to be a interesting next couple of months with him.
And I think, too, there's something about Scottie this week specifically. Not that he hasn't done this in the past. We're mentioning football already, but something that great football teams do is they're able to adjust at halftime. What Scottie did on Sunday and his ability, unlike a lot of the other golfers in the PGA, is he's able to make adjustments on the fly immediately, like head to the back nine and just completely change what he's doing off the tee that is like hindering him from kind of starting to lap the field. And I think you saw that this week with what he did and proving, like reminding everyone, as much as, oh, you don't want to bet Scottie at that number, which I get it. It's disgusting. Yeah, you don't want to bet Scottie at plus 250 to win it. Like I got it. I understand it. But it's just undeniable that he is the best player in the world, and people are going to have to start to get used to it, whether they like it or not.
Let me ask you a question, because I think you brought up a point there that deserves further discussion. Scottie was able to turn it around as the wheels completely came off for him. For a second there, it felt like Jon Rahm was going to win the golf tournament.
Yeah.
Do you think that the lack of, I'll call them high-end reps, whatever we want to call what Live is not, do you think that hurt Rahm down the stretch? Because now this is a couple of times we've seen it. I had a ticket on him at the Olympics where, once again, Scottie Scheffler, and that one came bulldozing up the leaderboard, ended up overcoming Rahm there where he kind of faltered down the stretch. And then once again, Rahm got himself into contention there where he had all the birdieable holes in front of him. looks like he's going to potentially take the lead and it didn't happen. Do you think that live answer has anything to do with it, or Rom just didn't put the pieces together when he needed to?
I mean, and you have to start having that conversation too, because they're not getting the amount of reps. They're not getting the amount of reps to, like, even, okay, you're competing at name insert live tournament. It's not the same as playing on the PGA Tour where they're like, it's fine. I'm fine with, I don't care. Go to live, do your thing, like get your, whatever. That's not the conversation here. At the end of the day, you're not playing as much as these guys are. And, at maybe the height of the tournaments that they are either. I think with Bryson too, which is such a crazy thing, he has his YouTube thing and he's like still, maybe he's playing a little bit more because of it, which seems so silly. And that's why we see him, playing as well as he does. But again, we're not seeing a lot of these guys. Like, I don't really care it's really hard to know like what's tangible from what they are doing on live versus when they come over here. Like, yeah, you can go to the live stats and whatever, but like, what does that really mean to me, I guess?
Yeah. And as far as Bryson's concerned, it's almost like he has taken on that camera friendly approach to this, to where when he left, he was one of the most hated golfers on the PGA Tour, and he's become beloved, and people watch his YouTube channel. You can see it. It turns into a circus every single time he plays. So whatever Bryson has going on, he has bucked the trend of what all these other live golfers seem to be putting together. And I will say that the one name to keep an eye on moving forward, I know it was not a top 10 that was actually in contention. Joaquin Niemann ended up finally giving us a finish inside the top 15. And I think that is a golfer that we really need to keep an eye on over the next couple of years. His ceiling is massive. And before he left, he was one of the highest potential players that I had on tour. So, we've seen it on live. He's winning a lot of golf tournaments. I think it will start translating to more major championship success over the next handful of years.
Absolutely. And I think like this is just the start of it. And he's a good example too, even like the question you're asking about Rom, like if Niemann is still on tour, he's playing on a regular basis, like he's still very young too. He's another player that's very young. Like if he's playing on a regular basis, are we seeing this happen at a faster rate sort of thing? So I don't know, but I love Niemann. He was probably the hardest hit for me as far as leaving. So I'm excited to see what he's able to do moving forward. It's going to kind of sting because I can imagine his number is going to start to fall to a place where it's going to feel unbettable, which is unfortunate because he's, now that he did kind of get the monkey off his back, which hilariously, that just seems to be a phrase that the golf community loves saying, monkey off their back. So I'll use it for them. He got the monkey off his back of finally getting that top 10. It's all anyone ever wanted to talk about. So he did that now, but you know what that means? It means next tournament, next major, we're going to see his number hanging around, 24, 22, because it's going to get bent down, I bet.
The overcorrections, the groupthink mentality that we started at the beginning of the show, it comes into play, and you have to trust your own process with a lot of these decisions because, I heard you talking about this, and we'll move into this tournament in a second, but I saw the clip get pulled last week where we're talking about groupthink mentalities with it. And I think for the NFL draft and for dynasty drafts, one of those prime examples that's coming into play is RJ Harvey.
Yeah.
I run a model. It is not like what my golf model is. I put it together as just a very basic thing that I used to do when I created content. And it's a much more subdued version of it now because I'm pretty much 24/7 golf. But I will say with RJ Harvey, he's getting steamed up in all these drafts. Yeah. My numbers really liked him. So it's like one of those things where my numbers really like Joaquin Niemann. So even when that groupthink mentality comes into play, I will probably still be higher than consensus on a lot of those takes. But I think it's more of a cautionary tale to everybody to just be very careful, because once you start chasing the steam, you're usually getting the worst of the number. And when we're not talking about Scottie Scheffler, when he's able to overcome it at the worst of the number, it's just, it's overpriced golfers at the end of the day. And that can lose you a lot of money.
And that's not where a place where you want to be. Like, even I didn't think he was last week, and then we'll jump into this tournament or else I'll keep ranting. But like, I finally got behind Justin Thomas, and it's not a player that I normally do. And then I feel like, did I get sucked into that group think a little bit where like now, so I don't know. You just have to be careful with what you jump into but then it's hard with an RJ Harvey. Now we're talking two sports, but it's hard with him because he's a player that I really loved going into the draft and I wanted to draft him. And now if you want RJ Harvey in a rookie dynasty draft, you need to take him before like 107, 108, 109. That's not exactly where I want to be taking RJ Harvey. So it's a weird spot where you have to balance like overpaying for like what you want.
Yeah, it's the unfortunate outcome with it, and that's what happens, and that's why sports betting in general is such an interesting game to be played, because books are pushing numbers in different directions, and the whole goal that you should be doing, and we can talk about closing line value. I feel like you and I, when we had our show together, I talked about closing line value 24/7 during the show, but it is important. It doesn't win you a bet, it doesn't pay your mortgage, it doesn't get you to the window on it, but closing line value does matter at the end of the day. And a lot of it, for, once again, talking to sports here, for football, a lot, when you're paying the 106, you're paying this baked in cost. There's too much risk that starts coming into play at certain numbers. So that's where you have to figure out, where is the threshold of where you are comfortable still backing a player in golf, a person in your draft, a bet for any other sport. You can take any of these things, any sport. It's the same answer over and over again of risk versus reward.
Correct. Absolutely. I'll have to get you on for a dynasty show. Producer Ryan, mark that down. That we got to get Spence on. We'll talk about the Charles Schwab. This is not, like, some people, it's not the most exciting tournament. For everyone, you're coming off a major, everyone gets a little bit sleepy, whatever it is. This is one of the tour's most like accuracy driven tests that you will see. You're going to hear that nonstop. Has the dog legs, has the wind factor, has narrow fairways. Who popped immediately for you? Like, let's go through like 3 of our best bets each. But if you want to make a comment about the course first, because you can be very thorough with these things in case anyone wants to know.
Well, I appreciate that. And I will keep it short. I will try not to have one of these long-winded answers that goes on for 10 minutes of me talking.
They're like, not these two again.
Yeah, we're back to just like the standard. I mean, we had shows that would go an hour and a half, and we would go 45 minutes before we actually started talking about the tournament. But the one thing I will say about this course, and maybe this is where I am trying to deviate from it more than most people, I would be a little bit careful of taking the history metrics at face value of what you're getting here at Colonial Country Club. Gil Hans did a restoration of this property in 2023. It did marginally alter the scoring dispersion marks inside my sheet. That doesn't mean that it presented such a massive change that any of the past iterations are null and void now. But the one thing that I will say that is going to be different than most of the shows that you're going to listen to for golf content is I noticed that the off the tee numbers ended up generating over a 3% uptick in my sheet when purely looking for win equity. Right. And the biggest mover of that ended up being because of distance. Like, you are correct. This is a venue that at its core, it's tree line. There's forced layups. It's a distance eradicating setup that's meant that if you go wayward off the tee, you stymie your second shots. But I thought that there were a lot of different ways that you could play. I thought there were routes now with Hans's restoration that you could bomb it over some of the corners. Okay. It's still such a minimal point at the end of the day that I'm going to be lower than consensus will be on off the tee numbers to begin with. I'm looking from proximity from 125 to 200 yards. I'm also looking for golfers that can spike with their putter. I thought it was a really unique course, Stephie, because when you see an uptick in strokes gained approach, which there's almost a 4% uptick that I got, you expect it. And by the way, this is not a short answer. We're already at like 2 or 3 minutes here. But what you expect to happen is that the putting means that you're like putting from within 10 feet. It's not exactly what's happening here. There's over 6% more putts that get made from 10 feet and beyond. So essentially what that means, to simplify that answer, players that are finding high-end success are doing it with their approach game, and they're also doing it with their putter, but they're making putts from a longer distance. Players aren't sticking it right next to the pin. So for me, what that means, and maybe this is where a projection goes right or wrong, a green in regulation is worth more than anything else that you're going to be looking for. You want to find golfers that are going to hit a lot of greens in regulation, and then the ability to make putts from there. And we've seen the market react very, very aggressively on this player. But the very first name that I found that my model absolutely loved at 45 to 1, and he's more down into the 30s now, would be Aaron Rai.
Yes, that's my first name.
Rai's profile is essentially all the uptick marks that you want to find in proximity are there versus what his baseline is. He's the third weighted driver, which I've talked about how distance matters. This is not a distance golfer. This is a name that's going to find a lot of fairways. And I think that there is going to be that recipe for him, that he finds a lot of fairways. He makes a lot of putts. He plays on similar courses extremely well. I thought Rai, when he opened at the 45-1 number, was probably one of the best values that we've gotten on the board in a really, really long time on a tournament that is going to be strongly dictated by Scottie there at 2-1. And I'm sure you would like to have a discussion about Scottie before we officially move past that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can. And I think we'll just stay on Aaron Rai for a second because he's the first, even like when I try to like think of names before I even like run a model, and Aaron Rai was one of the first names that came to mind for me here. He ended up being, I think he was like 6 in my model. It might've been a little bit less than that. I think I missed the number, so I'm not going to bet him outright. I chose to play him 2 different ways so far. I've played him top 20 because I think the plus 130 is like just a very, like, if you want to get in on this tournament for fun and just like feel good about a bet, I think the top 20 here on him is great. You saw his approach last week when he gained 8.2 strokes on approach. And I like his top 10 after round 1 at the 12-1 number. Aaron Rai also is a guy that loves round 1. He loves round 1. You see his name spike all the time on round 1. So he's one of the first guys that came to mind. I like that, the number that you got. I did not get in on that number, so maybe it's something where I get in on it live. But it has been bet down quite a bit that I don't feel great about it. And I also think that Scottie's going to do Scottie things and probably end up winning this tournament.
Well, that's the problem with it, is you have to be careful with your exposure. Whether you are betting Scottie or you deem 2.5, 3-1 to be too low of a number, which is more of where I stand with this, there is a real possibility that Scottie wins by 5+ strokes, and any dollar that you put into this tournament ends up going away. So it's where value does matter. I want to keep my card. And if you look at my card specifically, that was the highest or lowest, whichever way you want to view it, that I went up on the board. Every other name is 50-1 or higher from it. So no, the Scottie problem is a real one, unfortunately.
Yeah, 100%. What's another name that popped for you here? Maybe a little bit further down the board, or one that, you know, when you feel good about that maybe you're not going to hear on, I guess, every show.
I'll give you a really gross one. I feel like that was another thing that when we would do a show together.
I have a really gross one as well. So
yeah, I'm going to go with Eric Cole at 125-1. You look at his course history here, back-to-back missed cuts. I don't think that that's necessarily the most promising thing, but I talked a little bit about, you know, all the upside marks of why off the tee matters. But I also think at the core of what we're looking at here, there were a lot of metrics that kind of pushed away from off the tee, which is why I'm below industry standard, I would say, at this point, of what Eric Cole or off the tee numbers should be for a player like Eric Cole. And if you just look at the statistical profile for him, 8th in my model in weighted strokes gained total, 7th in my model in strokes gained total at short par 70s. He's 2nd in my model at strokes gained total on similar courses. I think that those 2 back-to-back missed cuts at this property have kind of weighed heavily in the outright market. And, you know, Eric Cole has not won on tour. We could make an argument that 2 years ago, when he was kind of starting to flirt with all these top 10s, that was kind of more of the range of where he was going to win. But market, in my opinion, has pushed too far in the other direction. And if we weren't getting that return, to me, this is more of a golfer, and this is a wild difference of what I'm about to say. I think Eric Cole should be more like 55-60-1 in this field. So double the price on him. I understand the safety marks will leave a lot to be desired. In outright betting, I'm looking for upside. A lot of times, second place is going to be as good as last place. There's clearly each way markets and things that can make that answer not be correct. But if I'm trying to find a winner here and I'm trying to find a profile that can take on Scottie Scheffler at his very best, Cole does it better than most of these names in this triple-digit zone.
Yeah, and even compared to last year, like Eric Cole is now like playing, like he's not playing great golf by any means, but he is playing better golf than like what we saw as of like in comparison to last year. He's actually what I was going to give out a little bit later with my rhythm ad read, because they like him, like his projected finish for them, I think is 14th or 16th. The top 20 number is plus 320. A little ridiculous in this field for me. Now we're like maybe over adjusting a tiny bit. I still think there's things to like for all the reasons that you said about Eric Cole. So I am with you on the Eric Cole train. Boy, did he piss me off last year, but I can get back on him for a T20. I think I might get there with the outright, maybe an each way. I've been playing a lot of the each way markets this season. They've been kinder to me. And I think when you have a guy like Scottie that's constantly there, you have to be prepared for the worst, which is your player coming in second. So that at least makes in a little bit of that. A guy that I looked at, which this is gross. It's a top 40 bet. It's plus 200. It's Brian Campbell. Brian Campbell is very short off the tee. We know that. He is closer to a Joe Schmo than he is a pro. When it comes to distance, don't need distance it's more an accuracy thing. He's quite accurate off the tee. He has been gaining on approach since the Masters. He won at the Mexico Open. I'm not asking him to do anything but get a top 40 here. It's a quite simple task, not asking him to do a lot. And he also, he leads the tour in average strokes gained putting on bent grass in the last 36 rounds. You talked about the putter earlier. This is a guy, if he gets really hot with his putting, stays out of trouble, which we can see him do off of the tee. I think a top 40 is very reasonable for Brian Campbell.
Yeah, like if I run my data from a lot longer term perspective, not that we have a ton of years of information to pull from with Brian Campbell, but I have everything that he has for the most part inside my sheet. He's 4th for strokes gained putting on bent grass, 9th when I looked at spike putting. That was golfers that had the ability to just get fiery hot with their putter at any given time. 7th overall for me in weighted putting. And, you talked about a lot of those approach metrics that he does bring, and he is a shorter hitter, but, there are 2 areas where from 125 to 200, that's kind of your sweet spot zone of where you want to be with your proximity game. And he was 8th overall for me from 150 to 175, which is smack dab right in the middle of that range there. So, I think, look, it's volatility for a reason with it. Yeah. I still think that we are looking at a golfer, though, that has the potential to, at any given moment, catch fire with the flat stick in the approach game. So, yeah. I mean, it's gross, but they're gross plays for a reason, and there's value in the market for a reason on it.
Yeah, absolutely. I could have given you guys Neil Shipley, which I was close to doing, and I chose to give you Brian Campbell. So just say thank you that was the gross bet and not the Neil Shipley. Before I ask you about a couple of your other bets for this, so let me tell you about Edge Boost. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors, ensuring all gambling transactions are approved. No usage fees, no minimums, earn cashback rewards, 100% approval for all betting deposits. Sign up today at edgeboost.bet with promo code SGPN. Time for my bonus underdog pick'em. Underdog just launched their new game, Ladders. Win up to 500x watching your favorite players climb the ladder. A pick-up entry I like for this tournament. No, I am not going to stop giving out Spieth, no matter how many times you ask me to. Spieth finishing position better than 20.5, and Rye, as we just talked about, better than 20.5 as well. That'll get you 3.43x your money. So sign up with Smalls, 2 L's, to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus credits. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SMALLS. Rhythm is your home for AI-backed picks and props. Dominate the NBA playoffs and MLB prop market with Rhythm. Building your model is simple and easy. Rhythm knows you'll love it. It's why they included a 7-day free trial. Here's something I love from Rhythm, like I just mentioned, and we just talked about Eric Cole. Eric Cole, top 20 plus 320. Rhythm has some amazing deals going on. 25% off monthly subscription with promo code SGPN25 and 50% annual subscription with promo code SGPN50. Get your 7-day free trial at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. All right, let's get into a couple more bets that we like here. I'll lead it off with this. Maybe I'm traumatized from JT last week. Not that this has to do with JT Thomas, just the name JT. JT Poston feels tempting. Not in and outright. I can't get there with outright. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this shit again with the fucking Justin Thomas. The just JT. What is this? Wait, what is JT Postman's? He has a very random middle name that I was not expecting. It's like Tyreek or something.
I heard it on coverage. I don't recall what
I was
it was.
like,
but
wait,
it was
what did they
different.
just say?
Yeah.
I was so confused. I have to look that up. I was very taken back when I heard his middle name. Nothing wrong with it. Just was not at all, like not at all what I was expecting. Like, where are you at with Postman? Because I feel like he's also a golfer. You can look at the course history here. I know T10, lots of top 20s here. He's off a T5. Like he's in solid form. I feel like he's always in solid form. Like he's always just an average golfer to me. But he's also a guy that can just have a horrific week at any moment in time. Is he a stay away for you?
No, I mean, I would say he's a very standard top 20 sort of a bet. Like a lot of my metrics are lacking the upside. And I know you said you weren't going to bet him as an outright, but a lot of the upside metrics were not quite there. Like when I compare him to, Rye is a name we've talked a lot about. Like it much prefers Rye, but like I have him higher. And even if we just bring up like fantasy golf and what the price is on I can say books, correct?
Yeah.
So if you bring him up on like DraftKings for DFS, and he's in that range there with like McIntyre, English, Rye, he's at the very top of those names. Rye would be my number one choice, but I would say Poston for me is higher than Harris English, who I think Harris English is going to get a lot of playability this week in the eyes of people. And then he is kind of substantially higher than Robert McIntyre in my model. So not a stay away necessarily. I think if we're talking DraftKings purposes here, I think the $9,000 section leaves a lot to be desired outside of Berger and Rye, but Poston would be that third name that I would probably be okay with putting in lineups because there is safety in my model with him.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I think, and even like it's just, you looked at his top 20 number is plus 120, and it just feels like a nice number there, sitting there just asking, but that's also when you get burnt. So maybe we stay away from it. Who else are you leaning towards betting this week before I let you get out of here? You've been so kind to give me all your time.
Let me ask you a question. We'll go down the path of another outside of the box name that I don't think anybody's going to be playing this week because of his current form, but do you have thoughts on Tom Kim?
My thoughts on Tom Kim are, now is the time of the year where Tom Kim decides he wants to play playing golf again. So I kind of feel like if I'm going to do it now, would be the time, but you can sell me on him. I also like when everyone's off Tom Kim. That's when you bet Tom Kim. When the echo chamber is not betting Tom Kim, that's when he tends to do better.
I fade Tom Kim almost all the time. That's yes, he's overpriced in the market and he's been broken. Like that's not hyperbole to that. It's his game has just not been there. But for my model, I have him 18th overall. I have him 16th for upside. I have him 34th for safety. That is about as high as my model has gotten him in a year. And a lot of that stems from he's the number one player in my model. This is using a long-term sample size, which is once again taking a lot of the bad that we've seen over the last year into account. He's number one in my model with proximity from 125 to 175 yards. He also has a couple of metrics that really pop for him. When you look at similar courses that are these shorter par 70s, when you look at venues that are similar courses in general, I ran about 6 or 7 courses. Harbor Town would be one of them. Sedgefield. Think of any of these positional venues. Yeah. He's inside of the top 10 for me in that area. So, there were matchups out there. And unfortunately with my matchups, a lot of times they're there 1 second and they're gone the next once they're given when I give them over at Rotoballer. But surprisingly, my model liked him over Taylor Moore, which is a price that's still out there. Okay. My model really liked Aaron Rye over a name like Robert McIntyre. My model like Brian Harmon over Thorbjorn Olesen. I mean, you're chasing a lot of these numbers, unfortunately. And then if you want to get really gross with one, my model liked Mark Hubbard over Pearson Coody.
And Pearson's going to be a highly touted one this week. So that's probably a nice number.
Yeah, it's one of those spots where, like the current form looks great on him, but from a statistical perspective, my model seemed to really like Hubbard in this spot, lacking any of the high-end marks that you would want to see at this course, but he plays it pretty much every year. He makes the cut pretty much every year. My hope in that situation is a made cut is good enough to actually just win that bet.
Yeah. Also, JT's middle name is Tyree.
Yeah, that's what it was. It
That's
was
out of
very
nowhere.
surprising
Like,
to
it
hear.
stopped me in my tracks. I was like, what the fuck did they just say his middle name is? I had to ask my friend. I was like, is that what I heard? Because I thought they said, I don't know. That was weird. It's nothing against it. It's a nice name. It just, I don't know. If I were to guess, I would have just assumed Thomas or Tyler. I don't know.
I mean, I think most people just hear it and they hear JT and they're like, yeah, it's Justin Thomas Poston.
Yeah, that was very, very bizarre. Love those bets. Before I let you get out of here, you got to give me, is there a dynasty chase or anyone in fantasy that you're going to have a lot of that, the market hasn't like over adjusted to?
Well, I liked Bashal Tootin before it was cool to like Bashal Tootin.
So that's the problem. So is Bretton Strange cool now too? That's some of these guys that get too crazy.
I'm going to say the one, and I don't know what the upside actually ends up being here. I know this team gave a lot of draft capital to go up and get him. There's still lingering contract issues moving forward for a name like Jameson Williams. My model really liked Isaac Tesla. I know he did not produce in college, but there may be more untapped potential that's out there. So he was a name that my model really seemed to like. There are some undrafted free agents that have now been signed that are extremely gross, that if I am playing in, I mean, all the dynasty leagues that I'm in have like, 50 plus roster spots. So it's really easy to get a lot of these names on there. But Isaiah Nair, who went over to the 49ers, my model seemed to grade him on a very similar projection of what it had Jalen Coker last year. That was a name that my model really liked last year. So I think that there's at least like some similarities there in the way that they graded. And then, I mean, the problem is a lot of like the really popular names are the like Jalen Knowles, who are now starting to become much more mainstream to pick to begin with. So, that's the game you're playing, is all of a sudden it catches popularity, and do you like them as much as they end up pushing up the board with it? The last one I will give that I think slips further than he should, I like DJ Giddens. He graded really well in my model. Not going to do anything in year one with Jonathan Taylor there, but we are playing dynasty football if you're in a dynasty football league. So if you're thinking about this 2-3 years down the road, Giddens, I think, has a little bit more upside than people may believe.
Especially around the running backs that are near him when, or even like, knock on wood, I mean, it's not like running backs don't get hurt. Like, to be clear, like they need guys like, so those are the type of guys that I like to go after as well. I almost took him in a draft that I am currently in. Let people know where they can find you, where like all your work is, what's coming up. Because if you guys don't follow Spence, you should be always the first articles and content that I try to consume, other than this week. Because when you're coming on the show, I can't, because I got to be able to grab it from you when we're on the show.
No, I appreciate it, Stephie. You can find me on Twitter at @TOffSports. You can find all the work that I do over at Rotoballer. You like any of the numbers that you heard? Do you want to have a more in-depth look of how you can build a model? I have a model that I release every single week. You can make a copy of it. All the matchups are on there on every single one of the legal books. It's something that a lot of people have loved this year. I added it to the sheet. So you can go on there, look to see what my model grades a lot of those matchups. And then I started a new show about a month or two ago over on Pat Mayo's network. It's called King of the Draft. I do that every Tuesday night at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time. I would love to get you on at some point, Stephie, and do it with we'll have to do a big tournament on it. We'll make it an exciting event. So maybe one of the majors coming up, but we'll have to get you penciled in for that.
Yes. Text me. Let me know when we can do that. That'll be a blast. Be sure you guys go follow Spencer, consume his content. We'll get you on to do some football content closer to this season, probably golf again, to be completely honest. I appreciate you coming on again.
Thank you so much, Stephie. This is always a pleasure to do a show.
You're the best. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye.
MyBookie. Let's talk about MyBookie. We're brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie is your place to bet on every sport, including the NBA playoffs, plus props for every game for the true D-Gens, the MyBookie money bag. MyBookie accepts customers from a ton of locations, easy deposit, and lightning fast payouts using crypto. A bet I like, and we'll talk a little bit more about the NBA games coming up with producer Ryan, would be the Timberwolves plus 7.5 head to mybookie.ag, promo code SMALLS for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. And I don't know why, if you haven't yet entered the Circa Resort and Casino Ultimate Fantasy Football Experience for 12-person league to draft in Vegas and be treated like VIPs for their stay. If you've been to Circa, is it not the best place in the world? If you haven't been to Circa, this is the perfect chance to get in. You get a 2-night stay for you and your entire league. You can hold your draft at a cabana at Stadium Swim with a $5,000 food and beverage credit. That's where I had my draft last year. Absolute blast. You get a welcome party at the Legacy Club. You also get another bar package at the Overhang Bar. I mean, it's nonstop what this offers. Context is being held until June 30th. You can enter at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/circa. And now, since we were doing a Tuesday show, producer Ryan is coming on to chat with me about who knows what. No, we're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk about the NBA.
Hey!
We're going to talk about the NBA. We're going to talk nonsense. But
I have so much nonsense planned for you. But first, we're going to talk about the NBA conference championships, which I'm super stoked on.
But before we talk about that, I actually decided I want to talk about one thing first.
Okay.
Did you see the clip I sent you that I don't even know what her name is? I should let me be respectful. Did you see how the Commanders have decided that they are America's new team?
Yes. I don't know if the Commanders as a whole have decided.
Owner Harris has said we have so much to look forward to, and look, the Commanders are America's team. Says fucking who? What the fuck? I started laughing when I heard that. Settle down. Can they settle enough?
How many people in America even know that they changed their name? First of all, you can't
family that stopped watching probably a while ago. Still call them the Redskins. Okay, so the Redskins are not America's team, to be clear.
It's clearly not.
Never.
I mean, they're getting.
I like Jaden Daniels. I fucking hate the Commanders. And you're sure as shit not America's team.
Yeah, they're getting a little high on their horse just because they're a little better. Last year they have Jaden, so they're getting cocky and they're going to start overreaching.
I respect the confidence. Calm down. I don't know who America's new team is. Maybe we'll take a vote. How about we just don't have America's team? I think that's dumb.
Yeah, it's all just bad marketing anyway. Do you really want to be America's team and keep losing in the first round? And that's what the Dallas Cowboys have done.
Yeah, why do you want to do that? That is weird. Weirdos, freaks, hate that. All right, let's talk about the NBA. Everyone complains we don't talk about the NBA, so we're going to talk about the NBA.
Absolutely. Have you been I got to ask, what is your knowledge level right now? Have you been watching?
I have been watching.
Okay. What is your take right now?
Well, I have takes. Here's my thing. One, I bet the Timberwolves to win this series, and then Minnesota Vikings to win the NFC North as my fun little parlay.
Okay, for your Minnesota friends.
Yes,
so you're in with your Minnesota group now.
Because why do fans in New York or Minnesota think for any reason their pain is ending? The Knicks are getting way too excited. You're a New York team, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, I am with you. One of my bets is going to be for the Pacers to actually win that series because the Knicks feel so worn down. Jalen Brunson is dealing with an injury. Tom Thibodeau always plays his starting five way too many minutes. I feel like they are all going to be breaking down, and the Pacers have a great chance of running them off the floor. They're like a young AAU team that somehow has gotten into the NBA.
Yeah, these are my only notes. We can start with the Knicks game then.
Okay.
Quick, the Knicks first. This is my only thoughts and comments about the Knicks. I won't be participating. Also, I think I should clarify. I am not a Knicks fan. Like just to be so clear with everyone, like I know that it's supposed to be Giants, Knicks, Yankees. I am not a Knicks fan. I've never been a Knicks fan. I think the color orange is extremely tacky. I am not a Knicks fan. Like, it's just not my thing. I'm a Nets fan. Is that unfortunate? Yes, it's very unfortunate. It sucks, actually.
Were you a Nets fan when they were in New Jersey, though?
Yes.
Okay, well, there you go.
You're
a real Nets fan.
Okay. These are my comments about the Nets. I'm happy for everyone. If one of these teams, maybe they can take the Giants boat curse off. That would be nice. If the Knicks want to do that, maybe I'll root for the Knicks. That's fine. These are my comments. Okay. I like the Pacers 4.5 in the first game. I think Knicks laying 4 is crazy a little bit there.
I like that.
I like the Pacers to win in 7. That's what I wrote.
What are the odds on that?
I don't know what the odds are on that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't look. I'm just letting you know what my takes are.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I have more odds.
It's got to be pretty. It's probably be pretty high odds too.
I like Mr. Zesty's points in the first game. I like him to go over the points. He tends to do well against his team. Scores a lot of points. That would be Cat, in case you didn't know who I was referring to.
Mr.
And I like Mikhail's threes. He tends to go over his threes lately because he takes a lot of shots. And I think they just play him way too fucking much. He should not be on the court.
That's the thing.
He should not be on the court that much.
Tibbs plays his players so much.
So I like his threes. Whatever the number is, I didn't look it up. Those are my takes. I don't like the Knicks. Bing bong this. I'm good.
Okay, we're on the same page with the Knicks. I really like Halliburton to win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP at plus 210. I think those are really good odds.
Fun.
Yeah, right?
Because and he goes from like hated to not hated.
Totally. I think, and he seems to be hated by other players, not the media, not the people who vote on the award. So I feel like there's a good chance, because if Indiana wins, who else is it going to be that's the most valuable player? It's got to be him.
Unless it's Mr. Zesty or Brunson.
Yeah, but but that would be if the Knicks win, and I don't think the Knicks are going to win. And then I'm
deleting my Twitter for a little bit if the Knicks win, because I can't do it. It's a little much.
You are never deleting your Twitter. Are you kidding?
I try.
I also have OKC to beat the Pacers in the finals at plus 225.
Oh, that's
what do you think about that
number?
Yeah, I feel like OKC is the best team. I know you bet on the Timberwolves, but the OKC is just too deep. Now, I can see a world where the Timberwolves win, but as far as betting goes, I am going to stick with OKC. Such a deep team. Plus, Alex Caruso showed that he could actually guard Jokic and slow him down at least a little bit. So I think that they're going to put him on Julius Randle a lot of, a good chunk of minutes. Julius Randle is going to be slowed down. So I do like OKC to beat the Timberwolves. But then if you just want to throw out a fun long shot, Pacers to win it all plus 700.
Oh, it's plus 700, huh?
Yeah, plus 700.
I bet the Timberwolves a week ago. I don't know when I bet that. But I just think it's fun. If I like narratives and I like the idea of the Timberwolves ending the Minnesota curse. Like, that is fun when, like, because then going into football season, JJ McCarthy is the new quarterback. Like, I like the narrative there of like Minnesota getting excited and like that whole thing. Does it end up happening? Totally. I don't know. And I don't know. People hate Julius Randle. Kind of like him.
Well, you know what? If I'm wrong, here's a bet that you might like. Okay, so if I'm wrong on OKC not winning, why not bet Julius Randle to be Western Conference Finals MVP at 20-1? Like,
why not?
If they win, he's gonna have to get really hot. I mean, Ant has not been their best player. Julius Randle has been.
Yes, and I mean, for the game tonight, which I don't know when this is gonna be up, so I'll just rattle through them. I like Julius Randle to get a steal. That number is crazy. I like him to go over 1.5 threes, minus 125. I like his assists as well. That's at 4.5. A little weird of a line. He's been going over that quite a bit. So I like those. As far as Randle goes, I like that kind of long shot there. Everyone will say, it's going to be Ant. It's going to be Ant. But they're going to need Randle here. If
I think Randle could set up for a really good series. I did mention Caruso might be guarding him a good chunk, but and OKC has a lot of long guys that are great at defense, but Timberwolves are the second best defensive team in the playoffs, so they got their own defensive stoutness. So definitely I still think OKC is going to win, but if I'm gonna throw a 20-1 on Orange Julius there to win MVP.
I did sprinkle a little bit on Caruso to go over the 1.5 threes. I
like fading SGA in this series because I think it's going to be more of a team effort. I think the Timberwolves have a lot of long guys that they can throw at him. McDaniels, I feel like he's going to be really working extra hard here. So I think he's going to have to pass it a lot more. So I like going under on his points.
Okay. I could see Chet struggling a little bit against Naz Reid, if that's like this. I could see that being one of the
Gobert and Naz Reid.
Yeah, actually. I could see Chet struggling a little bit in this series.
I think that's a good call. That's a good call. So let's see. Those are my bet. What else? Other bets that I want to throw out there.
Let's hear it.
Oh, I just wanted to remind everybody that one of Caruso's nicknames, it's not just White Mamba, which is pretty great from when he was a Laker. They call him the accountant. How great is that? Isn't he look like an accountant?
That is really good. I was going to read off to you, actually, since we're going to do nicknames quick. Julius Randle has so many.
Yeah.
Beyblade, Orange Julius, Don Julio, Big Jew, King Julius, Black Panther, and the Surgeon.
I feel like they shouldn't be allowed to call him Big Jew, even if they.
I agree with that. I also don't think I should have said that on air. That's gonna get clipped off.
It's spelled J-U. So
yeah, sorry, right. Big jug without the G.
Yeah.
Let's call them Big Jugs.
Big Jug. That's
Big Jug.
Big Jug. See, like it fits. I love that.
Yeah, I like that.
It. What other notes did I have? I think those are it. So definitely. Feel like so people can stop complaining that we don't hit the NBA.
Here's another one. I'll give one last one. I don't know what it's moved to, but I do like Ant Edwards' rebound and assists. I could see him not getting the points there and then being able to pick up the slack maybe elsewhere as far as that goes.
I love it. I think I think Ant can really rise to the occasion here, especially going against SGA.
Star.
He's so competitive.
He's a star.
Yeah, he's so competitive. I could see him raising a level, but the odds on him to be MVP and the odds for the Timberwolves, I just didn't like him as much as the opposite.
That's fair.
Okay, speaking of odds, guess what I learned today?
What?
So you can go into have you used ChatGPT much?
No, it freaks me out.
It freaks you out. So what you can do is go into ChatGPT and tell them. So I just met this woman and I told them everything that she's been doing and ask it for odds that whether she's gonna ghost me or not.
No way.
Yes, it gave me minus 250 odds that she will ghost me.
What?
Yeah.
How do they come up with that?
So it says the data set is on the positives. She flirts. She watches my Instagram stories. And she told me she's bad at texting, which I don't know. That's probably negative, right? If she says I'm bad at texting.
I don't know. I have a totally different opinion on bad at texting. I think it's bullshit. I'm bad at texting. I'm not being mean. It's just like I'm not texting people back. Like you guys are a lot.
Yeah. And then the bad data set is like she doesn't initiate or keep conversations going via text.
Okay. That I can see is bad.
I called her yesterday. She hasn't responded. I think I'm getting ghosted. So guys, if you're if you're curious about whether a woman is going to ghost you or not, you can ask ChatGPT rather than asking your friends who are just going to give you BS answers anyway. Let's be honest.
That is good. That's great. Now you know, and you don't have to embarrass yourself.
Totally. So I'm out now.
Interesting.
Um,
I've only got ghosted once, and it was like the most ridiculous situation ever.
Say that again.
I got ghosted only once in my life, and it was a ridiculous situation.
Why? How did you get ghosted?
I had a key to the place. Also, he left me a key so that when he was going away for I think it's Memorial Day weekend. Actually, speaking of the devil, I've told this story before on Lisa Ann's podcast. It's been a while now. And didn't hear from him. Was like, hey, just checking in. Had belongings at his home. Had his key to his home. Not that I was going to go there. That's weird. Whatever. He wasn't there. We had not been talking that long. And then he just posted Instagram on Sunday after just blatantly ignoring me, not answering texts, not letting me know that he got there, nothing. Does not talk to me again until he wishes me a happy birthday on my Instagram story on my birthday of Taco Bell. And I was like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. That is the most insane. We have not spoken since May, and I popped off on him. I probably can find the response. Maybe we'll have to look at it one day. It's quite hilarious.
Oh, that's great. Well, I've been ghosted,
and I'm
I've been ghosted plenty. So it's ever since my divorce. Yeah, that's the thing about dating now. Women don't just tell you, hey,
I think I'd rather be ghosted than deal with some of the other nonsense.
You'd rather have somebody not tell you why they're not interested? Or you wouldn't? You would rather them just ghost you rather than just explain?
Let's just not even.
That's fair. I guess that is fair.
Don't even bother me. Let's just fuck. I'll just fuck off.
Just fuck off. Don't give me a bad excuse as to why you don't like me.
Yeah.
Or that it's you, not me, or it's me, not you type of deal, right?
I'm good on that.
Forget it. And then I also wanted to tell everybody that I just performed at a prison, performed stand-up comedy at a prison.
At a prison?
Yeah.
Oh.
I performed in Yuma, Arizona. I did 2 shows at a prison.
How did that go?
Well, first of all, it's the first show I've ever had to do where I did a background check for it. And I gotta say, the prisoners were awesome. They loved it. They are so starved for entertainment. They thought I was hilarious.
That's great. It's way better than when you show up and you go to do stand up and it's a bunch of old people and they don't think your jokes are funny at all.
Yeah, totally. And the night before I went to the prison, I was at an Indian casino and it was so many old people and they were barely laughing. So
there you go.
Prisoners, way better.
We are pro prisoners.
Pro prisoners.
We are pro prison on the pod.
Pro prison. So it was a cool experience. Some of the guys in the audience asked me to roast them, and I was like, I can't fight. I'm not gonna roast.
No, I think I'm okay on that.
Potentially convicted murderers.
They're gonna tell their I'm just gonna shut up. Actually, I'm gonna shut the fuck up. So I'm gonna do it. It's not a good idea.
Okay, I have 3 games.
Prisoners.
I have 3 games I want to play with you.
3?
3, is that okay?
Yeah, are they long?
No, they're not long.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, I want to try random rankings this way. I'm going to give you 5 things, and you rank them in order that you like them.
Okay.
Or how important they are in your life.
Okay.
Here we go. The Billy B and Jordan relationship.
Okay.
High noons.
Okay.
Men with small dogs.
Is that you supposed to be you?
No.
Okay.
Just whether you like men with small dogs.
That felt like a trap. Okay, go
ahead. EDM, because you just went to a rave.
I did. Okay, that's a story for another day. I got into a fight almost. Okay, go ahead.
And the feeling of canceling plans.
Oh, Wow. Well, obviously number 1 is high noons.
Okay.
Like, am I supposed to like? These are things I like or don't
These
like?
are the things that are most important in your life or that you like, however you want to put it.
Okay. I don't know any men with a small dog other than you.
We'll put that number 5 then.
Okay. Men with small dogs, I guess, is 5. I like EDM. Cello is fun. And then let's do... Honestly, I'm not even going to fucking lie. The Billy V. Jordan stuff is fucking entertaining. I don't even care. I'll admit it.
It's the best.
I don't give a fuck. It's fucking entertaining.
I am hook, line, and sinker for it every day. Anytime.
I'm not even a girl that watches like reality TV shit. I'm sorry. This is like, I'm eating it up. I'm eating it up. So that'll be 3. And then what do I got left? Plans? I don't really care about kids.
You don't really care? Sometimes people love canceling plans and they're like, ooh, that feels so good. I just get to stay at home. Are you one of those people?
Oh yeah, I like when other people cancel the plans.
Okay.
Like I love the high of someone saying, do you mind if we do this another night? Fuck yeah. No, fuck no, I don't. Fuck yeah. Oh,
that means I've got the whole night open. Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, let me know. Whenever you want to reschedule, I will not be there.
Okay. Now I've been trying to get you to play this game, and
God.
I'm just gonna throw it out there. Golfers as hard seltzers.
Okay.
I've got 3 names I'm gonna give you.
As hard seltzers. Okay, so what are the?
Okay. Bryson, what kind of hard seltzer is he?
He's gotta be something trendy and new that like just came out, kind of. He's definitely not a White Claw. I don't know if High Noon's trendy enough. He's got to be, and I don't drink a lot of them. What's another like trendy?
You were just talking about some trendy ones with Larry.
Oh, Lucky One. He could be Lucky One, but that's not a seltzer. Lucky One is like a new trendy. It's it's not carbonated. It's a lemonade, like a Arnie Palmer type ordeal.
Okay, we can put Bryson
trendy.
on that one.
He tastes good. He is good. Appealing to the eye. He's an attractive man.
You stopped yourself by saying he tastes good.
I did. So yeah, we'll do Lucky One for him.
Okay, Scottie.
I think High Noon, straight up, overall, well-rounded, good. The number 1,
just solid all the time.
Solid. It's never going to let me down. It's just not. It's exactly what I need, always, week to week, day to day, hour to hour.
Okay, wild card, Ricky Fowler.
Truly gross, caca. No, thank you. Not
Perfect.
a fan.
All right, and then this is the last one.
The cheap bros love him. They like want to hold on to their youth with Ricky Fowler.
Yeah. Would the last one I was thinking of is Phil Mickelson. Is he White Claw?
Yeah, he would have to be, maybe.
He would have to be White Claw, right?
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
Okay. This game is called Date, Caddy For, or Bet Against.
Okay. Caddy For or Bet Against. Okay, got it.
Cam Smith, Max Homa, Brooks Koepka.
Oh, ew. Date, Caddy For, Bet Against. Who was the first one again? Cam Smith.
Cam Smith, Max Homa, Brooks Koepka.
I guess I would date Max Homa. I'd caddy for Cam Smith because it would be a short caddy experience. We wouldn't make it to the weekend, so it wouldn't be very wearing on the body. Not that Brooks does anyways, and I would bet against Brooks because I think.
Love it.
Good.
Look at that.
Yeah.
All right, we played
That's
3
a fun
games.
one. That's a good one. We'll have to remember that
Good one. I'll remember that one. Okay, that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me? Do you have any other stories?
I don't have anything else.
Go?
I don't think so.
Let's get out of here then.
Let's do it. Let's wrap it up. We'll be back tomorrow, actually.
We will be back tomorrow.
Who's our guest tomorrow?
Who is our guest tomorrow? Oh, I think it's Terrell.
Fun.
Terrell's going to be on, and then
I fear we
I'm
have a
blanking.
giant show coming for everyone.
Cody Zeeb from SGP
There we go.
and NASCAR gambling podcast. He's going to give us some bets
Vroom,
for the
vroom.
Daytona 500 and the Coca-Cola Classic.
Sounds
race.
good. Should be the Dr.
NASCAR
Pepper
stuff.
sponsor. Fun.
Yeah, so we can bet on that now.
Vroom vroom stuff and football Giants nonsense with Terrell. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Like, rate, subscribe. Please rate and review the podcast. Very important to us. We'll see you guys on Wednesday.